I'm 15 weeks pregnant and just found out my husband only plans to help me for 1 week after birth. Am I overreacting? Posted by you/bananasav0118. Hey everyone. I, 23F, am 15 weeks along. My husband, 25M, and I have just started talking about all of the appointments and schedules going on until the end of the year, baby due in November. We found out I would not be getting paid maternity leave, but he would be getting paid paternity leave for up to 4 weeks. I've already started saving up for when I will be out of work for 3 weeks after the baby. I work from home, and I didn't really think it would be a problem for him to help me out for 3 weeks while I healed, and then let me readjust for a week while I try to transition back to work. His response was that he would be happy to take a week off, but if he needed to, he could take 2. His reason was that 2 weeks was $2,000 that he would already be missing out on and he didn't feel comfortable losing any more. A few key details before I get into the juicy part. We've been together for 5 years and just got married on May 4th. Yes, we had issues before the baby, and no, the baby was not planned. I have pre-existing health issues, on top of being diagnosed with hyperemesis gravidarum, which has sent me to the ER 4 times already. He does new construction plumbing, so he's paid per project, but if he were to be working at the shop on a rainy day or when there's low inventory, then he makes $15 an hour, which he would be getting paid during leave. We already have 3 ginormous dogs that I take care of 80% of the time, on top of handling all vet visits and grooming. I feel that these are important tidbits so that you can better understand where I'm coming from. All I could do in response was sit there and cry. It hit me that I would honestly be doing this alone. I had already come to terms with the fact that once he went back to work, I wouldn't get much help from him since he does work a manual labor job and he's already exhausted without having a baby around. I told him that, at this point, I'd rather he just take the day off for the birth and I'd handle the rest. I explained that a week was hardly anything, and if I was expected to be okay with just that, then I'd rather take nothing. I've already been looking around on Care and Rover to find someone to help with the baby and the dogs. I don't have anyone else but him, since both of our parents work and we don't have any other family near us. I now feel selfish because he got upset by what I said, and he said, the baby isn't even here yet, and I already feel like a deadbeat. I can't find anything online that says whether a week is enough or not, and now I feel horrible because I can't get past the emotional part of this situation. Someone tell me I'm wrong or something because I don't really know what to think anymore. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. If he's getting paid parental leave, why the hell would him being at work matter? Wouldn't he be getting the same amount of money? Also, this situation is so screwed, and I'm so sorry. Having to go back to work, even WFH, 3 weeks after giving birth just sounds so cruel. Has your husband done any research on birth and newborns? He seems to think that it's all going to be much easier than it's going to be. Ops response. Technically, his pay is based per project, which is per house. They range from $800 to $1,600. In 2 weeks' time, he can technically have up to 5 done, which is more than his hourly pay. Although, based on his comment, he'd technically be missing out on $800 if he were to take those 2 weeks off. It's honestly not my preferred plan, but with the economy, I couldn't afford any longer. I've explained to him what a natural birth and a C-section entail, along with the responsibilities of having a newborn. I've bought him books, sent him videos, but there's not much more I can do to make it black and white for him. Commenter. Okay, what about just telling him that you need him there? How is that alone not getting him to drop everything? There have been a lot of studies on paternal leave, and I'm pretty sure if you do a quick search, you can find lots of research showing that it's much more beneficial for the dad, child, and mom for dad to take more than 2 weeks off when the baby is born. You still have some time. Can you maybe save the $800 before the baby comes? Ops response. I told him I would need more than a week, and he threw 2 at me, lol. Truthfully, I wish we were both in the position to take off at least 6 weeks because my pregnancy is already high risk with my heart condition. This will probably be our only one, and I don't want either of us to miss out on anything. It's so frustrating because he didn't grow up with a father, so he always says that he turned out just fine. I've already got close to $1,000 in savings for the baby, but we keep everything separate. I plan on having a lot more by the time the baby comes, just in case we need a cushion for whatever reason. Commenter 2. I know this is a very tough question, but is there any world in which you would consider not having this baby? Your health is at risk. Your relationship with this man doesn't seem the strongest. It seems like finances are a little tight. I know when push comes to shove, you'll get through it and this baby will be cared for and loved. But please know that you're allowed to prioritize yourself too, and if making a very tough decision is what's best for you, do it. Ops response. I thought about it when I first found out, but truthfully, I've always wanted to be a mom, I just had figured I'd go via foster/adoption. Our relationship and finances are definitely not in the best position, but considering how much worse it could be, it's not the worst. I know at the end of the day, he will provide for the baby. My health has been a concern, and I was on COBRA previously through my old job's insurance. The insurance my company has wasn't accepted at the Mayo Hospital, so my only other solution to cutting back on costs was to get on my husband's plan, which is accepted by my heart doctor and my OB. So I am being monitored and get weekly lab work/checkups. Adds an edit to her post. A few things I feel like I need to point out, since some of you are a bit on the cranky side. Yes, we use protection, hence, surprise baby. I live in Florida. Maternity leave is not mandatory for employers. My main reason for this post was to get a viewpoint from all sides on this matter. It's our first child, and we had already discussed having children later on in life. I never planned to get pregnant. I promise the baby and I are being monitored by my OB and my cardiologist. Update 1 year later. I got a lot of questions/comments about having a termination, and truthfully, it's not for me. I have nothing against terminations. I had already grown an attachment to my baby. I showed my husband the post and comments, and it was all truly eye-opening for us both. We had some really hard conversations and some of the most groundbreaking talks. We both ended up in therapy, in couples therapy. We still have a long way to go, but I feel like I'm living in a dream now. My job ended up paying for 6 weeks of maternity leave. My husband took 2 weeks off, and his job gave him a baby bonus on top of the end-of-year bonus. They were absolutely incredible during the journey. My pregnancy was absolutely horrible. My morning sickness sent me to the hospital 7 times. I had 2 IVs weekly, anemia, and pruritic urticarial papules and plaques of pregnancy, in the middle of summer. I ended up on bed rest in October and had her in November. She had a few complications that we faced, and we ended up at a high-risk doctor, but the stars aligned, and all of her issues were resolved by the time she was born. I labored for 36 hours and ended up having a C-section due to her heart rate dropping. Out of everything, that was the moment I was terrified. My C-section was absolutely traumatizing. I remember there were doctors everywhere, asking me questions and whether I was feeling anything. Every few minutes after they had given me numbing through my epidural, I kept getting my feeling back. It was horrible feeling them cut, pull, and the burning pain. I swear, as soon as they pulled her out and she started screaming, it was the most peaceful I'd ever felt. The first 2 weeks with her were everything I had hoped and dreamed. My husband was incredible and took care of everything. I had never felt so loved in my entire life. He helped me do everything and was amazing at night watch. We are now officially 7 months in, and I swear life couldn't be better. I still work from home, and she's with me while I work. She's incredibly smart, and we have a great routine together. She has 4 teeth, she's standing on her own and crawling. We are so close to saying mama. I never knew I could love someone as much as I do her, and I'm grateful that she's mine. I think regardless, I'd still have made the same decision to keep her. I know it would have been harder and a lot scarier. I've hated my life for as long as I can remember, for one reason or another, but now I feel like I have an actual purpose, and she came at the most perfect time. I realize that not all stories are the same, and I hope that I don't seem insensitive, but I figured an update is an update, good or bad. If you ended up reading this, which I doubt anyone will, thank you for the time. It means the world to me. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Happy to hear everything worked out. Wow, what a roller coaster that must have been. I'm 30, and this makes me not want to have kids. But regardless, did any of the advice help you out? I think very low of the advice given at this sub because it's filled with single people and people who just hate couples, and every solution is to break up. Ops response. Oh yes, I'm never having another one, but she was absolutely worth it. I'll be honest, I didn't have a lot to live for and was absolutely hating my life. She saved me, and I'm a better person because of her. But it wasn't fun, and the only part I really miss are the kicks. Truthfully, a lot of it was pretty hurtful. I get it though, from an outside standpoint, it didn't look great, and I absolutely did not give my husband the credit he deserved. There were a few that I saved specifically that were neutral and offered really good advice in regards to speaking to my husband about my concerns. And a lot of super nice people messaged me instead of commenting. It was my first time posting on Reddit, and I'll not make the same mistake twice, lol.